Welcome to the Performance Portfolio Podcast with Coop and Coop. Greg Cooper is the owner of Cooper Performance Coaching and lead instructor at Kodakwai Judo Club in Edmonton, Alberta. He is on the lifelong pursuit of helping others increase their performance. Cooper Allen is a top financial advisor from Barrie, Ontario, whose focus is empowering everyday families with advice, leadership, and tools that we should have been given in school. Together, they bridge the gap between performance and finance to help you create your own robust performance portfolio. With that, let's get into today's episode.
Coop, how's it going today, my friend?
Good, Greg. How you doing?
Excellent as always.
Right on. Right on.
So off camera, you had posed a topic to me, and not to cue my own topic, I'll let you cue it.
Yeah, so we had something else planned for today, but I popped on with Greg just before we recorded, and I said, why don't we do a deeper dive of a reel that he put up on social media about the topic of growth not being a reward. So why don't we start there, Greg? What maybe for anyone who hasn't seen the clip yet, what was the gist of the original clip, and what prompted you wanting to put it in?
Mhm. It's been a topic that's been on my mind for a very long time, probably longer than I even knew. And the basis of it is in this society we live in today where this dopamine addiction is so prevalent, where everybody wants that checkbox, that ding, that pat on the back, that they're doing the right things. People now view growth as a reward, but it's not. Growth is a response to the challenge you put forward, to the hard things you're doing, to the environment you're in, because you can only grow if you're stepping outside of your comfort zone. And the crux of this was, as a judo coach, I have a very multicultural team. And I want to be able to, say some simple phrases to my athletes from Dagestan, to my athletes from Turkey, from Spain, like all over the world. And I downloaded Duolingo because it seemed like it was accessible. People had good reviews. And within like the first 2 days, I realized it was just another little dopamine ding. It actually didn't teach you anything about language. It taught you pattern recognition. So like you could guess what the words were because it gives you like all of the hints. And then it goes, "Whoopee, you got 90%. You're amazing." Yeah, but I don't know how to speak French or Turkish yet. Like you didn't help me at all. And that's when I was like, that's it. These people have turned growth into a reward. But that's not even real growth. It's superficial. It's fake. And this is a huge issue that people need to look at, especially right now. We're 7 days into the year. A lot of people have probably failed on their resolutions. A lot of people are hopefully still going strong, but they need to know growth is not the reward. The reward is the resilience you build, the perspective you gain, and all of the other intangible things that need to be built over time under pressure.
Yeah, and to take that a step further, to me, the real reward are our fundamental rights. Because it's not like hey, I get my rights and then it's optional that I fulfill my responsibilities. It's I fulfill my responsibilities to get my rights. You don't get to walk into an employer and say, you're going to pay me before I do the job. So I'm going to do the job and then it's going to come with a paycheck. It's the same thing with growth, at least in my view. I don't know if you want to challenge that a little bit, but it you show up, you contribute to the economy, you make the place better than you found it, whether it's a workplace, a community, your household. And on the other side of that, then all your rights come in. And we live in this world where everybody wants to whine and complain and protest and be entitled to these things that they believe are rights. And half them aren't even rights, but even the things that are rights, they forget that it comes with the responsibility of being a good, ethical human being that's always growing and evolving and contributing back to the betterment of society.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Coop, with tying it to the workplace where we have these individuals that come in expecting the 10-year rate or 10-year salary before they even put their foot in the door just because they have a piece of paper on their wall. I'm pointing at yours. Right. It was just right there. Not saying that you're that guy, Coop. Maybe you were. I don't know. I
But
totally
it's
get it.
crazy to that point is I'm not that guy anymore, but that was the mindset that was instilled from teachers and guidance counselors and parents was just as soon as you get this piece of paper, that's your meal ticket to you've made it and you're better than the person who doesn't have one.
Mm.
And by the time it's crazy, by the time I got to my third year university and I had friends who were done college or trade school or started their own business and were out in the world contributing and not racking up debt, that was actually probably the first time in my life, Greg, where that social structure and that better than complex got challenged because my whole life I was just told, hey, the way to beat the competition is your neighbor's your competition, and the more of these pieces of paper you get, the better off than them that you're going to be. And only until I found personal development and entrepreneurship did I realize that, first of all, my neighbor's not my competition. It's me versus me. And the second piece is it's not about paper, it's about value to the marketplace. And the fact that we've got grown adults that still haven't figured that out yet with the amount of information that's available online and just in real practice with the eye test is pretty deeply concerning.
You said something there that made me think about one of your great pearls of wisdom that you bring up often on the podcast in the financial world, where we can't use strategies from the past that worked historically and expect them to work now, right? Because doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, is the definition of insanity. Cooper Allen, that's trademarked by him, by the way. And that's the same thing. People take that mentality where bat on the degree piece where yeah, in the 80s and 90s that piece of paper did get you in the door because it was to some extent not as common for people to go straight to university because of the socioeconomic structure back then. Kids didn't have parents at will paying for their schooling. There wasn't student loans at the rate that there are now. And because of that, people went to work. People did go to school, but they worked and they did it differently than now. It's like just like the next step. But why? Why if it doesn't make sense for you as the individual? It's about the man and or woman in the box, not about what everybody else thinks about for you. And it's the same thing with challenging yourself to grow. If the corporate ladder isn't what you want to climb, if you want to go down the entrepreneurial route, well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to grow a heck of a lot faster than somebody going through university. Not saying it's the better route, but because that person who chooses that entrepreneurial route sooner is going to be put under a lot of pressure, a lot of stressors, a lot of unknowns, financially, mentally, every aspect of their life is going to get challenged every day. Where in university, yes, there's tests, there's deadlines, but they're pretty superficial. You're in an environment that is garnered to help you grow. And you will grow still, and you will face challenges, and you will do that. And at some point, those two individuals, their growth will interject. Maybe the person that went the university route surpasses, or vice versa. So the rate at which you grow, again, those two people aren't competing with each other. Like you just said, they may be neighbors, but they're just in different paths in life. Just because my growth happens sooner doesn't mean it's going to be continuous. I might fizzle out really fast if I subject myself to too much too soon. And it's just this ongoing problem of people not focusing on themselves enough.
And the core of the issue that ties back to your original point about growth not being a reward, but instead a responsibility. Now, the responsibility is me adding my part. You didn't say that, but um, the real issue, and we're actually starting to see the pendulum swing back the other way a little bit, where now some of the topic among high school and parents are saying, "Oh, I hope my kids get into the trades because that's where all the money is." Because now they've seen a, a generation of kids go and spend 100 grand on a university degree to graduate and get a 40 or $50,000 a year job. Uh, but there's still an issue. with that because it's the root cause of that, the root foundation is still from a place of a better than complex. And it's not about you're better than this person because you went in the trades or you're better than this person because you went into university. It's what sets the foundation for you to achieve what you're looking to achieve. And it comes back to growth being a reward, is I find a lot of times people want to grow so that they can say, I'm better than the next person. It feels good that I'm so much higher minded than I'm getting educated so I can be higher minded than you, Greg. I'm taking this Tony Robbins course or listening to the Performance Portfolio podcast so that I can be more higher minded. It's like, well, the goal isn't to be higher minded than the next person. The goal is to be the best version of yourself. And until you shift that mindset and stop the keeping up with the Joneses, if you take the keeping up with the Joneses mindset that most people have financially and implement that into your personal growth, that is the exact opposite of growth. And the biggest growth actually is getting out of that mindset.
There's a number of things I could go down here. I have like 8 different paths that I'm trying to figure out which is the right one. If this is the right one or not, that's yet to be seen. But when we had Josh Kosnick on, he said when he was talking about coaches, if an individual is looking for a coach or a mentor, and that coach or mentor that they're looking at doesn't have one themselves, run away. That stuck with me. And it made me think about my past, my present, and my future. And currently, talking about growth, I'm doing another challenge. Put your shocked face on, Coop. That one of my best friends posed to me, and it's through Mayhem Fitness, which is one of the biggest CrossFit gyms in the States. Rich Froning, sorry, one of my fitness idols, 4-time fittest man on earth. And it's there's a number of things to the challenge, but I'm now using his programming. Historically, I use my own. And on his app, the programming is very challenging. And then there's a scoreboard. And if that doesn't incite growth, I don't know what would. Because especially when you're at a pretty high level of anything, this is fitness related. I put up my numbers and I have to do this. Scroll, 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 scroll. Oh, there's my name. The dudes in this app are so strong, but so humble. Like they're putting up numbers that are 150 pounds heavier than me, and they're probably the same body weight as me. And again, I don't view that as, oh, they're better than me. It motivates me because I'm like, I'm a big fish in a small pond sometimes, but now I'm a small fish in a big pond. And people need to subject themselves to that more. Because just because you're a subject matter expert and you're killing it in whatever area of your life it is, have you stepped outside of that bubble that you've created for yourself? So have you done that lately, Coop?
Yeah, it's like the idea of, I mean, we obviously living in Canada, we see a lot of junior hockey players, and it's the classic, I was the best hockey player in my town, in my small town, until I went to the bigger city center on the travel team. I wasn't, this is just the example. Uh, but yeah, you go to the bigger city center, and now you're a second line guy, and you got to work again to get back up on the first line. Then you get to, and every time you get to the next level or bigger city or bigger opportunity, it's, yeah, you might have been the hero of your hometown, but yeah, there's thousands of hometown heroes that by the time they get to the big leagues aren't achieving the dream. So in terms of the scoreboard on your example, Greg, is there any way that it can be manipulated in the way that some people implement or try to manipulate maybe like your big three concept or the power list concept, or is that scoreboard built in terms of it's black or white, you achieved a result or you didn't, you're ranked at a certain level or you're not?
So the scoreboard on the app I was talking about in particular is just straight up like you put in your workout results and it gives you the score if it's a CrossFit style workout or your weight. So that's pretty black and white. Now, could people lie on said app? Absolutely. But here's a perspective shift. You're on a public scoreboard. That is a very real possibility. Maybe my number is the number one. and all the guys above me lied. And if that's the perspective I go in, I'm not going to grow because I'm stuck going, no, I'm still the best. I know for a fact I'm not because I know my numbers are very good, but I know they're not fittest man in the world good. So I can make an educated guess going, if a certain percentage of people are lying, there's enough guys that beat me that aren't. So I don't even think about that factor.
Right. It's an interesting point. It brings up kind of two thoughts for me. The first thought is, yes, there are people that are better than you. And it's okay if the motivation is, as a competitive person, I want to catch that person or I want to be better. To me, that doesn't equate to a better than complex because you're not saying I'm better than them as a human being because I can lift more weights. It's just you're gamifying it.
Mhm.
To say, hey, to bring the best out of me, I'm going to gamify this to see if I can catch this person or beat this person. But the mindset and the attitude is not that makes me a better human being or a better entrepreneur or a better bodybuilder than that individual. And the irony of it is by the time you catch them, if you ever do, you're not by the time, let's say you do end up lifting more, posting better results, you're not going to think that it's not going to be about, man, I'm better than you. It's going to be a respect thing. Because by the time you get to that level, you're going to go, wow, I know what it took to get here. So I'm not going to look down on this person. I'm going to have a ton of respect for them. And it's kind of irrelevant if I'm a tenth better here or there. So that was my first thought. And the second thought is when you look at some of these things like Powerlist or Big Three or an app like that, it's the same thing in the finance world with a CRM. People ask, what do you use for a CRM? And my first answer, I'm like, before I give a recommendation, a CRM is only as good as the person who uses it.
Mm-hmm.
So a Powerlist, a Big Three, any of these tools are only as good as the person holding the tool. So if you're going to go on there and on your power list, you're putting busy work instead of needle moving work, it goes back to the whole growth is not a reward thing because you're putting busy work on there so you can be a taskmaster instead of a needle mover. I'm sure you see probably quite a bit of that in coaching. Hey, Greg, first of all, what are your thoughts on that? But secondly, how do you coach someone from a mindset of thinking success is just getting the piece of paper and checking the box versus getting them to a point where they realize that success is here's my level of tangible growth that doesn't have to do with checking off tasks that should be realistically the tasks that people check off should either be minimum standards that they don't need recognition for or should be on a rainy day list that was not as important as the five other things they could have been doing.
Mm-hmm. 3 points here. So the first one on like a public scoreboard or whether it's in the office, like I know in like the car sales world, they have very public scoreboards. Obviously, this app I'm on in the fitness world, a public scoreboard is yes, the individuals on that board and the effort they put forward is a very big factor in it. But the culture of the team and the leadership is also really critical there. Because if the culture is top dog wins and it's like Lord of the Flies, you're going to create a really toxic competitive environment. And it's going to be very cutthroat and it's going to be very mean at times. Excuse me. But if the leadership and the culture and the team is built on pushing each other, competing along against each other and with each other in a way that makes the whole team better, then when your buddy on your team beats you by $10 that week or 5 pounds that day, instead of everybody else getting pissed off, they're going to go, man, Coop, you crushed it this week. And then maybe it's going to incite a question going, what did you do different this week to get you that extra weight or get you that extra dollars sold? And I go, well, here's what I did. And then next week, all four guys do that. And it really creates this like skyrocket of team success. So on a public scoreboard, that is one thing that is very important. To the power list and the big three, we were talking about this off camera, and I've been talking about it to a lot of my clients lately. Going back to my comment at the start of the show, we're in a world of dopamine addiction, and there's all these apps that give you dings and streak counters and badges and all of these pats on the back that you're pretending to grow, but you're not growing. Well, you could turn a power list into that really quick. The point of a power list in particular is it's the anti-to-do list. It is 5 non-negotiable things you're going to do today that will move the needle forward. What does move the needle forward mean? Well, that's going to move you closer to your 6-month goal, to your 1 year, to your 3 year, to your 5 year, to your 10 year. Those are big life events. So those 5 things better be impactful. However, over time, even good habits can become complacent and just a checkbox. So if that list used to be very specific, because you're fired up, you're starting something new. Today, number 1, call 5 clients to convert to premium accounts. That's pretty specific. 2, ruck 5 kilometers with X pace. Okay, that's pretty specific. 3, go so on and so forth. That's specific. Those are going to be 5 things that you're going to have to challenge yourself to do, not a dopamine addiction list. On the flip side, if it starts going into call list, what does that mean? Does that mean write the call list? Does that mean call one person, 5 I don't know. But at the end of the day, whether you're questioning yourself or not, you're probably going to strike it off. Water is on your list. Just the word water. Touch it, drink it, jump in it, take a shower, right? Again, it turns into a thing that you can just scratch off. And maybe it's because you don't have anybody in your camp that is helping you and challenging you and keeping you accountable. So surround yourself with those people.
That was going to be the point I jumped in on after you finished the third point, but I'll jump in on it now is every time we chat, it sells me on the reason that someone needs a coach. Now, if you're listening to this as someone who's standard 9 to 5, no intention of picking up second income outside of that, or ever doing anything entrepreneurially, or never seeking a promotion in your job, or never hitting a goal in sports or fitness or anything, then disregard. I don't think you'd be listening to this if that was you. Uh, but 75 hard, like, or a power list or any of these concepts, that can be a framework and a tool that you use. But to your point, Greg, it just clicked for me when you talked about how if you're the only one that's policing what you put down and you have no outside feedback, no outside supports, you're gonna get lazy on that stuff. Uh, I I'd say even the highest performers consistently prove over time that they're not great at holding themselves individually accountable. They need a second set of eyes on things. Even it goes back to the topic of I have a financial advisor. I am a financial advisor with an advisor because I need a second set of eyes on. It's the same thing with this. Having said that, if you're going to ask someone for coaching, you need to give data to that coach or they cannot coach you. So don't go get a coach on day one saying, I'm going to start my power list today and have my coach. And, well, the coach isn't going to know how to coach you because you're not talking about data and logic. You're talking about feelings. So go write out a power list for 2 weeks, then get a coach and bring 2 weeks worth of your power list to your coach and go, hey, I'm not getting all these done. Or I'm getting all these done, but I'm not seeing results. And the coach can give you some guidance on, well, you're not seeing results because it's only been 2 weeks. Do this for 90 days and you'll be good. Or you're not getting results because you put brushing your teeth as a critical task instead of calling, or exactly what you just talked about, Greg, with the specificity of things. And then the second mistake I find that people make is, and this is goes back again to the problem of seeing personal growth as a reward, is they get to a certain checkpoint in their growth and they think, I'm good. So I've lost the 10 pounds that I needed to, so I'm going to stop going to the gym. Well, you're going to put it back on. It's the same thing with growth. If you learn something and you're like, yeah, I'm good, I don't need to grow anymore, you're going to put the mental weight back on. The old habits are going to come back in. So you could do a power list for 100 days in a row with a coach and be sweet, but then 100 days later, you're going to look at your list. And if you don't have a coach with a second set of eyes on it, it's not going to be as good as what it was 100 days ago, even though you've built the habit because you still don't have the second set of eyes. And that's why I hate the phrase when people say self-made.
Oh,
I'm a self-made millionaire. I'm a self-made billionaire. I'm a self-made entrepreneur. No, you're not.
I hate that. That might be one of my biggest pet peeve sayings in the planet, especially when it's coming from people that I don't know but I respect. When I hear them say that, I'm like, come on. You know that's not true. And it's after they just told a story about how their mentor guided them on this like turmoil piece of their life they went through. So you're clearly not self-made. Anyway, I digress. On the note of team leadership and team accountability, Coop, I know you put a lot of that, you built that culture in your team. So, like, what are some of the things in the business world that you tangibly do that potentially separate you from the other financial teams out there?
It's a good question. The To a lot of people on my team, I probably sound like a broken record because I'm talking about the same things over and over again around pre-planning your day, pre-planning your week, time budgeting, financial budgeting. We should do a an episode a little bit later this month about how many people in the financial industry actually practice what they preach. Because that's a big thing for me. If you want to be in our industry part-time, help a couple people here and there, uh, make sure you're always doing the minimum standards, make sure you're always doing the right thing for the client. But if you're here part-time and this isn't going to be the industry that is the career gig for you or the one that buys back your life and buys back your time, then yeah, maybe you don't need to be held to the same standard of know your budget down to a penny, know your hours down to the hour and time budget and financial budget and have these structures and systems. But if you're here to be a full-time advisor or junior partner or senior partner of the firm and uh, you want to be given referrals and the ability to train other people within the team, there's definitely a standard that needs to be held and that's bigger than just product knowledge. Because there's an element of if I'm going to ask our clients to say, hey, come do a free financial review to see where we can get your numbers in order and get things on track and keep your eye on the ball a little bit better when it comes to finances, but we're not doing the same thing. And not just with our money, but also with our time. There is absolutely no space, in my opinion, for somebody in the financial industry to ever say that they're busy or to ever say that they have no money. Because the structures and systems that you are teaching your clients are to free up their time and free up their money. So if you're not doing that, you're being hypocritical. Uh, so that's a message that I'm pretty consistent with my team on is, hey, if you want to move into a leadership level or even really be an independent advisor, as opposed to just someone who's an intern or a trainee under somebody else, then it's bigger than understanding life insurance or investments or you got to dominate your day and it's also an industry that you need to make sure that it complements your life and not consumes it. And the only way that you can serve your clients properly while also simultaneously setting boundaries so that you can still be with your family, you can still do the things that you need to do for your mental health is these structures. And people think that these structures are inconvenient, but it's what creates freedom. The reality is that if you're an employee, somebody, and there's nothing wrong with being an employee, but it just means that somebody else is telling you what to do and where you need to be. If you do want to gravitate into the self-employed world, uh, whether it's for the freedom of time, whether it's for the commission-based income and being able to earn more income that way, or you want to gravitate into from self-employed into true business ownership and entrepreneurship, it's going to require maybe not necessarily more out of you, but different. And that was one of the things I wrote down as you were chatting earlier. I don't understand why people think that they deserve. It's one thing to want it. It's okay to want it. But I don't know why I'm not sitting here thinking I deserve to have your physique, Greg, when I haven't done the same stuff in the fitness world and with my nutrition to get there. And I don't get why people come into our business or any business. There shouldn't be a single agent that comes into financial services and expects to live my life without doing some sort of semblance of the things that I've done. Like that would be like sitting on the couch and watching hockey, being like, I deserve to be on the ice. You've never skated before. How do you deserve to be on the ice? Like, if you're asking for more out of life than standard Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, not really much, like highest taxed individual as an employee, least control of time, and you want to get out of that into more control of your time, better tax situation, opportunity to make more income, it's going to require more, no different than it would require more to improve your physique as well and your health. So yeah, I just there was some things that we do in there, and then there was some things, some mindsets I noticed as to why people don't do well in our industry that I find are probably applicable across your coaching clients as well.
Oh, Coop, you don't know me. I was last cut in hockey. I could have went to the show. I could have, but I chose not to. How many times?
Dude, it's actually,
Yeah.
it's so funny you joke about that because that's actually the mindset, in my opinion, as to why I think people don't go all in on their fitness programs, their financial programs, their businesses. Because like if I can give 90%, it's the last 10% that I actually need to give to make it work. But if I can give 90, it's enough to say that I tried so that I can still have that better than complex like we talked about earlier compared to the
Mm.
next person. But when it doesn't work, I don't feel bad for it not working because in my mind I go, well, I didn't give it my all. If I would have just gave it my all, then it probably would have worked out. But just it wasn't the right timing for me or wasn't the right fit or I tried, but I didn't try that hard. And we've somehow made it cool to give like half effort and expect full result, but then when we don't get it, we justify. It's crazy. It's like our expectation is that we're going to get the result, but then we're also positioning it so that if we don't, it's like you're protecting your ego to say, "Oh,
Mm.
it's okay that I didn't get it. No big deal." It's like, well, if you have the ability to say it's okay that I didn't get it because I know I didn't put in the work all the way that I could, I know I didn't give it my all, then you also shouldn't have a mindset that thinks you deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to draw back to two things I talk about lots. One is, you know, hard work will beat talent every time because talent only gets you so far. And if talent isn't paired with hard work, then it creates the scenario that you just brought up. Well, I did enough. I still beat like most people. And the other thing that is crazy to me is how we've like glorified being fat, sick, and nearly dead, and broke, and mooching, and doing all this negative stuff in our life, and like we're doing photo shoots with ice cream and pizza and at 7-Eleven. I'm like, what? Why? And that's the glorification of mediocrity that has created this. Hey, that's okay. Nobody expects you to win the Olympic gold medal. Or let's look at Summer McIntosh, who at like 18 is one of the most decorated Olympic athletes we have. How is that not one of the number one things we talk about? Um, and yeah, like to me, that just blows my mind that that's where we're at. Uh,
Well, and so
yeah.
sure, nobody expects you to win a gold medal. Uh, You know what I do expect though? I expect you to be a responsible adult. I expect you to be an adult that continues to fulfill evolution and strengthen society. Maybe you don't fully know how. That's growth. That's what makes growth a responsibility, not a reward. Is as you get older, you are also supposed to get wiser. As you get older, you're supposed to increase your capacity to handle more. And it's not just about, some people might hear the hard work thing, go, well, Greg, you don't understand. I'm burnt out. I don't have anything left to give. And it's like, then get smarter, improve your capacity. Like laundry is not a task that takes an hour. Laundry, you put it in the machine, and then when you sit there and scroll your phone for an hour, the laundry didn't take you an hour. The laundry took you 5 minutes, and you BS'd your way through the next 55 minutes. And the other tasks that you could have got done in those 55 minutes could have freed up the rest of your day to either relax and fulfill your mental health or improve your productivity in another area. And if you actually took the time to write out all that stuff that you have to do in a day, you'd realize you could probably get it done by noon. If you just put the phone down for a little bit, figured out, okay, while I'm doing this, I'm going to do this. On my drive to the office, I'm going to make this phone call. While I'm out picking up this item, I'm going to pick up that. But then you watch people and they're like, well, I'm going to drive out to Canadian Tire because I got to buy a shovel to shovel the snow. And then you shovel the snow and you're like, you get done shoveling the snow and you go, but you get halfway through, right? Well, I need to go back and grab a 6 pack of beer because this is wearing me out and I want a beer while I'm shoveling. So you drive back out and grab a beer and then you drive home. And then you get home and you realize, oh, there's no gas in the car. So you finish the driveway and then you drive back out after having 3 beer to go fill the gas up. And you just went out 3 times, where if you would have taken 30 seconds to think ahead, People are like, well, I don't have time to think ahead. Well, if you would have taken the 30 seconds to think ahead, then you would have went to the beer store, the gas station, and Canadian Tire all at once and saved yourself 2 extra trips.
That just made me think of something that I brought up in a past life where I said, if I ever own a company again with a team and it's like a sales team, I would make it a mandate that all the employees show me their screen time on their iPhones. And it was immediately barked back. The conversation we were having was, well, that's against HR policy. That's fine. It would be a rule if you were working for me. Because the people that I know for a fact, the people that say they don't have time, look at their screen time. 15 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours a day. Well, I use my phone for work. I do too, and mine's not that high. Additionally, how many subscription services do you have? Prime, Disney, Crave, whatever the other one's, Netflix. So you got 6, and they're probably watching at least 2 of them every day. Those are the people that drive out 4 times to do a thing that they could have done in one go. That say they don't have time to think about a new job, that are always tired. I literally saw somebody make a post yesterday saying, I want to be less tired, but I continue to be tired every day. Yeah, because you haven't changed anything. You're not drinking water. You're not eating properly. You're not going to sleep. You're on your phone the minute, right up until the second you decide to close your eyes. You're doing all of these negative things that are working against you. And again, you're expecting different results. Stop. Stop.
The alarm clock industry should not be declining the way it is because of the phone. Your phone should not be your alarm clock. Your phone should be in a different room. And you should use some sort of alarm clock or a buzzer on your watch or like something where put your phone away. If you were a parent and you had a kid, you start with, you don't give them a cell phone right away, or at least I didn't have that. It was like you get kind of the practice phone with the apps and the games on it and maybe a little bit of social media, whatever, and you phase the way in. But what do parents say? Well, no iPads in your room, no phones in your room, no whatever. If you're going to set that rule for a kid, why wouldn't you do that for yourself? I, I don't know. To me,
Do
it
as I
seems so,
say, not as I do. I hate that
yeah.
saying.
And then even it's the same with parenting, which this could be a whole other podcast, is like, why are you yelling at your kids for being kids? Like if they're really being disrespectful and contributing to the worsening of society, sure. But if like all you're teaching, you're mad that your kids are yelling, so to combat them yelling, you're gonna also yell at them. So you're teaching them basically what you're doing is for you to get what you want, you're gonna yell. So you just taught your kid for them to get what they want, they're also supposed to yell. But then when they do that, when they just copycat your behavior, you're just gonna get mad at them. That's one of the best parts, Greg, about becoming a parent is the mirror that it puts up. I think it's the same with entrepreneurship. It's always it puts up a mirror, it forces you to look at yourself. And the more that you look away from that mirror, instead of taking the uncomfortable time to stare into it and go, what do I need to improve on here? What are the things I need to apologize for? What are the things I need to strengthen? The more you look away from that and go, man, who else's fault is it? Why are other people making me feel uncomfortable? No, other people don't make you feel anything. They're your feelings. I'm mad because I'm mad. I'm not mad because Greg made me mad. I'm mad about something that Greg did. That's a huge difference. And the lack of responsibility and accountability over one's own emotions and one's own actions is completely insane to me. And that's where it goes back to, as much as growth isn't a reward and growth is a responsibility, so too is everything else that we've discussed. And I think that the reward is who you become in the process. The reward is that you're in a community that's healthier, that's in a better place. My reward for fulfilling my responsibility is it attracts relationships into my life with people like yourself as opposed to BS people. That's the reward. I wouldn't have this connection if I didn't have 5 years, 6 years, 7 years of personal growth prior to you and I meeting, because you wouldn't have saw me as someone that you wanted to even talk to, let alone do a podcast with. That's the reward. So even if you come at it from a place of a better than complex, it's just, do you want to hang around higher identity people? If you want to be around higher identity people, you got to change and you got to see things as a responsibility. And as soon as you start fulfilling the responsibility and you do it for a long period of time without a reward, that's the other thing is you got to just accept that this thing's going to take 5 years, whether it's the business you're looking to build or the body you're looking to build or whatever. The first year, 2 years, 3 years is a lot of things that you don't want to do without a lot of immediate proof that it's getting you anywhere. And then one day you wake up and you're an overnight success. One day you go to the family Christmas 2 years from now and you have an aunt that goes, wow, you're looking pretty good. Have you been working out? Yeah, for 2 years, lady, but it just took you 2 years to figure that out. So,
I'll
anyways,
I'll wrap it up with two things. First, I get this out of the way because it just popped in my head when you said the 2 year, 7 year overnight success, right? I was talking to one of my former coaches, still a coach of mine, and we were talking about injured athletes and potential. And she said, man, what would it have looked like if your knees weren't so bad when you were young? Because I just had a predisposition that my knees were shit. I could have done a lot more, but knee injury, knee injury, knee injury, knee injury. I had like 5, 6 knee injuries before I was 16, plus 2 surgeries, and I didn't quit. That taught me a lot. It was frustrating. And I look back at that and I use it as a great life lesson now and I use that to all my athletes that have been injured. It's like, this too shall pass. It's just a bump in the road. One knee injury is not going to sideline you for life if you don't let it. But the bigger piece I wanted to wrap up with, it only took us 30 minutes, but I think we finally wrapped a bow on the topic of growth isn't a reward, it's a responsibility. Um, and it's putting up that mirror. You said that one of the most rewarding things as a parent is putting up that mirror and seeing, what am I presenting to my kids? I think about that often as a coach as well. But I think everybody should do that no matter what stage of life they're at. And if we all did that, it's like the old saying, and it stands the test of time. What are you doing when nobody else is looking? And treat it like a mirror. Are you actually doing the hard things that you're telling everybody you're doing? Are you treating people that your friend group doesn't know the way that you say you're treating them? Are you doing all of these intangible and tangible actions that would produce somebody who is growing and produce a better person in the end or along that journey? Or are you just full of shit? So put up that mirror. Use that mindset, use that mentality, and no matter where you are in life, no matter if you're a finance bro or a gym bro or just starting in university or in high school, wherever you're at in life, put up that mirror and you'll grow a lot faster than you think.
absolutely. I think that's a good place, like you said, to cap off today. And I appreciate you being willing to put stuff out there on social media because that one reel spurred a much deeper discussion, as most personal development topics do. And really looking forward to next week. Any other final thoughts before we close, or is that all for now?
No, I appreciate you finding the impact in it. Yeah, I've said this lots before. I probably would have stopped posting on social media a long time ago because it's not for me. But when somebody close to me, or definitely when strangers reach out and go, "Ah, I needed to hear that today," it's like, okay, it is for the right reason. So appreciate you bringing that up, and I thought it was a great topic. So to the listeners, hope you take something out of it. And if you have any questions, reach out to Cooper I, and we'll see you next week.